Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer on the psychology of employee motivation. Today, we're unpacking a big one, why we actually work. We're going to look at the fundamental reasons that drag us out of bed every morning and explore exactly how businesses use both financial and non-financial tools to drive human performance. Seriously, if you've ever wondered why some teams are just absolutely on fire while others are just kind of going through the motions, well, you're in the right place. So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with a look at why we actually work, followed by the perks of motivated teams for a business. Then we'll explore 3 really fascinating theories of motivation, break down some financial rewards, and finally, look at motivating without the money. Okay, let's dive into this.
Section 1. Why we actually work. It's a totally universal human experience, right? But the underlying drives are honestly way more complex than they seem at first glance. So, I want to break the fourth wall here for a second and just ask you to reflect. Why do you actually work? What gets you out of bed and to your desk every single morning? Now, sure, the obvious answer is money. We need to buy necessities. We all need to survive. But as it turns out, survival is far from the only reason we show up. I mean, yes, money pays for the shelter, the food, maybe a few luxuries. But we also crave security. You know, that deep psychological comfort of knowing your job and your paycheck are actually safe. And then there's the social aspect. Have you ever stayed at a kind of mediocre job just because you absolutely loved your team? That is your social need overriding basically everything else. Add in the esteem of being recognized for your expertise, feeling like the job you do actually matters, and that pure, undeniable satisfaction of just nailing a tough project, and you start to see the whole picture of what really drives us.
So the crucial point here is how all of these personal drives come together to create what we call motivation. And motivation is defined pretty simply. It's the reason why employees want to work hard and work effectively for a business. When a company can actually tap into those specific needs we just talked about, they unlock some serious potential. In fact, a well-motivated workforce is widely considered to be one of the absolute greatest assets any business can have.
Section 2. The perks of motivated teams.
Okay, so we've looked at why the employee cares, but let's shift gears for a second and look at the so what for the employer. Why should a business invest real resources into keeping their teams happy? Well, for one, when teams are motivated, productivity spikes. Higher output, that's just simple math for higher profits. But you also get a team that's actually willing to accept change and try new methods, rather than fighting them every step of the way. Plus, you see drastically lower labor turnover. That kind of loyalty saves an absolute fortune in recruitment and training costs. And finally, low absenteeism. When people actually want to be there, fewer people miraculously call in sick on a Friday.
Section 3. 3 theories of motivation.
All right, this is where we get into the intellectual meat of this explainer. Let's look at the science and the psychology behind human drive. Now, what's really interesting about Maslow's hierarchy of needs is how it's structured. Abraham Maslow suggested that we have a hierarchy, basically climbing from step 1 up to step 5. You start at physiological needs, meaning basic wages high enough to just pay your bills. Then safety needs, like job security. Next up are social needs, which are fulfilled by supportive colleagues, teamwork, that sort of thing. Then esteem needs, met by recognition for a job well done. And finally, at the very top, is self-actualization. This means succeeding to your absolute full potential, often through a big promotion or taking on major responsibility. But the brilliant insight here is that once one level is met, it literally no longer motivates the employee. They automatically look to the next step up. Think about it. You can't motivate someone with a slightly safer desk if what they're truly craving is recognition.
And that perfectly sets up this huge historical debate in management psychology. On one side, we have F.W. Taylor's scientific management theory. Taylor believed that workers are motivated only by personal financial gain, period. His big idea was to break jobs down into super simple tasks and just pay workers more if they produced more. It's a very transactional, cash is king view of the world, and it's heavily criticized today for being way too simplistic. Then on the other side, we have Frederick Herzberg's two-factor theory. Herzberg argued for a much more nuanced, psychological approach. He said there are basic hygiene factors, things like salary and general working conditions. Now, if these are poor, workers are unhappy. But here's the kicker. Improving them doesn't actually motivate people long-term. It just stops them from being actively dissatisfied. To truly drive performance, you need what he called motivators, things like achievement, recognition, and just genuine enjoyment of the work itself.
Section 4. Financial rewards and methods.
So, let's move from theory to practical application.
how do businesses actually pull these financial levers? Well, they have a whole menu of ways to pay people. Time rate wages and salaries are incredibly easy to calculate and budget for, but they don't really offer any daily incentive. I mean, your absolute superstar gets the exact same base pay as your biggest slacker. Piece rate and commission fix that by rewarding pure speed and sales output. But watch out, because when people are rushing, quality can absolutely plummet and employee stress can skyrocket if sales are having a slow month. Now, if you want to reward high performance or teamwork, you use bonuses and profit sharing. But even those come with their own risks, like sparking intense workplace jealousy or causing major disappointment if the company simply has a bad year and makes a loss.
Section 5, motivating without the money.
Which brings us to the human element. How do we cultivate genuine, lasting job satisfaction? Because, let's be real, what if money just isn't enough? Think back to Herzberg's theory for a second. A basic salary just stops you from being dissatisfied, right? It prevents you from rage quitting and frustration, but it doesn't necessarily create that long-term passionate drive. So how on earth does a business activate those higher-level motivators?
Well, they target job satisfaction directly through the work itself. This might mean job rotation, swapping tasks around to fight off boredom, or job enrichment, which is giving someone a tougher, more complex task so they actually feel trusted and challenged. It's about team working to build up that sense of social belonging, and offering training to make employees feel highly capable and invested in. Toss in the higher status of a promotion and maybe some nice fringe benefits like a company car or free healthcare, and you are directly targeting the very top of Maslow's pyramid.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground today, all the way from the basic necessity of a paycheck to the lofty heights of self-actualization and profit sharing. As you can see, motivation is like a giant puzzle for businesses to solve, and it requires a really careful mix of hygiene factors and true psychological motivators. So I want to leave you with one final thought as we wrap up this explainer. Look at your own life, your own career. Between the financial rewards, the social connections, the need for esteem, and the desire to reach your absolute full potential, what truly motivates you?